It's been 14 years since I finished my MBA. All of you graduating today will probably agree that the MBA is the ultimate intellectual wine tasting. You know, you get to taste everything. And to all of you first-year students who are sitting there, you know, take our advice. You know, make the most of it because it'll go by much faster than you think and much faster than it should. But the India that you are all graduating today is very different from the India that I graduated to in 1990 from my college. You know, we had just mortgaged gold to pay for our exports. You know, I joined a diversified Indian group. And I spent 15 days out of my month in Delhi. Shastri Bhavan, Yojana Bhavan, DGTD, CCINE, CCI, you know, the alphabet soup of regulatory cholesterol which kept India poor. But that regulatory cholesterol made sure that showing up was good enough. So we didn't have marketing, we had distribution. We didn't have treasury, we had accounting. We didn't have HR, we had administration. Most importantly, we didn't have customers, we had hostages. But most importantly and most tragically, 55% of India lived in poverty. You know, the India that you graduate to is different in 4 ways. It's different in many ways, but it's very different in 4 ways. One is, we are obviously more prosperous. We have pulled more people out of poverty in the last 20 years than in the many decades before that. The first thing that struck me when I got off the plane and went for my MBA in the US was their definition of poverty. You know, they defined somebody poor as somebody who had a small house or a small car or a used car. So we must celebrate now that the Planning Commission is saying that the number of people in India who are in poverty are not 28%, they are 42%. We must celebrate because this is not an increase, this is a recalibration. We are redefining poverty, which till now has only included calorific value of food, to include health and education. So we are a more prosperous country. We are a more secular country. You know, our favorite movie stars are Amir Khan, Salman Khan, Saif Ali Khan, and Shah Rukh Khan. You know, my parents loved Madhubala, Nargis, Dilip Kumar, and Meera Kumari. But the difference is that they didn't have to change their names to hide their religion. We are much more accepting of markets. I think the Indian mind is a little left of center. It could easily have been an Indian rather than a Frenchman, you know, Balzac, who said that behind every great fortune lies a great crime. But our distrust of markets and misunderstanding of how jobs are created is now changing because TeamLease as a company could not have existed in the 1980s. We are obviously much more confident. You know, our success in IT, Bollywood, and performance in this global crisis has increased our soft power. So now we are sure that you no longer have to be Western to be modern. You know, traditionally we define being modern as being Western. But I think the biggest lesson of the last 18 years of economic reform is that growth is a necessary but not sufficient condition for poverty reduction. You know, poverty reduction comes from access, and access comes from the 3 E's: education, employability, and employment. You know, I work for a people supply chain company that has hired somebody every 5 minutes for the last 5 years. But I am at the epicenter of the agony and ecstasy which is India's labor market. What is the ecstasy? I had a telecom client tell me he wants to hire a pair of hands. He doesn't care if a brain comes attached. That's the ecstasy. But what's the agony? You know, we had a job mela in Jaipur with 35,000 people showed up in one day. I was the only guy wearing a suit for 10 kilometers, so about 1,000 of them came up to me. And I can guarantee if 800 of those kids were born in Bombay, Delhi, or Bangalore, they would have had a job. Unfortunately, they were born in rural Rajasthan, in Dausa, Barmer, Chunjunu, Ajmer, Shergar, wherever. It's the ovarian lottery. You know, where you are born in India has an overwhelming impact on where you can get to in life. But at this point, let me shift gears, because anybody graduating from Manipal has the 3 E's covered very well. So what I'm going to tell you are 6 things. These are 6 things that I wish I knew when I was sitting where you all are sitting today. It's not possible, and obviously I have 2 caveats. You know, life is lived forward and understood backwards. And postmortems have a certainty that prescriptions don't. But here I go. There are 6 things which I wish I had known when I was graduating. One is think big. Because my immediate context is entrepreneurship, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday. There are 2 kinds of companies an entrepreneur can create: a baby and a dwarf. The baby is going to grow, and the dwarf is going to stay there. The difference between a baby and a dwarf is not more food, it's not more money. It is in DNA. Because resources follow great ideas and it's not the other way around. Your dreams must be bigger than your pockets, because the biggest danger is not aiming too high and missing. It's an aiming too low and getting there. The next important one is be authentic. You must be careful in following other people's dreams, whether it's your friends' dreams or your parents' dreams, because the comfort is usually the warmth at the center of the heart. But as you grow older, you always realize that passion and persistence always trump intelligence. And you cannot be passionate about something that you don't love. So be careful about your dreams. They're very fragile things. Don't follow others' dreams. That's the warmth at the center of the heart. Recognize the power of luck and timing. As you grow old, you realize there is great power in timing, because too early is often the same thing as wrong. Too late, there's no point in showing up. We have been particularly lucky with team leads. India exploded. We are a child of lower hiring standards. We are a child of the financial services explosion. We're a child of many things. This is not a blind belief in luck. I completely agree with Ghalib when he described luck as a bewafa mashuka, which is a fickle lover. But I think one of my favorite movies is Luck by Chance. We increase our luck by taking those chances. The other one is power of teams. And I think this is very important for you guys to assimilate when you come out of school, because it is a myth that greatness involves a hero. Greatness is a team sport. When I came out of my MBA, I believed in biology. I looked for intelligence, I looked for tall, I looked for smart, I looked for articulate. As I get older, I believe in chemistry. The ability of people to get along with people who do not report to them. The ability of people to get along with people who are on their side. The ability of people to realize that for you to win, the other person does not have to lose. Essentially, I recognize now that great orchestras aren't made of great musicians. They are made of ordinary musicians performing at their peak.